Oh, shit. I still have to rename the stream. Okay. Okay, I renamed the stream after I started it. I hope that works and it's shown correctly to everyone. So I don't have any viewers on this stream yet, but the goal of this stream is that I actually want to make music, because I don't feel like doing that alone. But when there are people with me, then I think it would be actually fun. I know that sounds weird. I mean, a real musician should always have fun making music, even if it's like all alone. But today I just don't feel so much like it. I feel more like being around people. So maybe some people come around and want to hang out with me as I'm mixing this music. That would be pretty cool. So I have to mix some music of Darien Geep, which is the track Golden Rule. So I'm dragging all of these things into Bitwig. And now the first thing that I do before going on is actually changing the color scheme, because I don't want to see the same colors every time. Which one do I use this time? Maybe I make a new one. So I need my color scheme making tool for making a new color scheme. I should actually put a reference to that here. So which image will I create a color scheme from? Which would be cool. Are there already people? No? Does this look cool? No, it has too many whitish colors. Even though that could be cool too, I guess. Yeah, why not? So what is this? It's some natural looking elf girl. Yeah, let's just call this elf girl. Now this is the color scheme of this project from now on. Actually kinda golden. I already like this. So the most important part of mixing music is of course that every track has cool aesthetic looking colors, so that it's a pleasure to look at the tracks. Okay, that was all of the tracks. Do we have people around already? No? Okay, maybe they will come a little bit later. So now the next thing that one has to do in Bitwig in order to start a mixing project is select all tracks and select the raw time stretching mode, which will undo all of the time stretching. And now it can be that some of these tracks are too short for some reason. Like when you zoom in, when you go in them and you drag them out, it can be that this was a good example. It was like here, but actually it ends there. So for some reason, when using Bitwig as a mixing DAW, you have to go into all of the events and drag out that endpoint thingy in order to find out if for some reason there was something that there is no more, or not yet, or I don't know. It's just weird that one has to do that. And I don't understand why that cannot be fixed. It doesn't look like a workflow that is intended. But okay. It's one of the many things that I told the Bitwig team about, that they should fix that, but I think they just don't expect their main user base to ever start a project by importing a lot of audio files, like traditional mixing engineer would. I do like to see myself as somewhere in between of all of these worlds though, so I want to have workflows like that. And it's kind of annoying. I just want to start. I don't want to arrange tracks. I just want to start mixing them. I want to start with the fun stuff of mixing, not the annoying stuff. But at least the tracks have nice colors already. So are there people around? Hello! I am about to mix music, but I have to do this annoying task before, because when you are importing a lot of tracks in Bitwig, for some reason it can be that some of the information is lost in one of the events if you don't drag it out. I think that was... Okay, now it's pretty clear that I have all of the information. Now I can just make all of them have the same length, I guess, or I will do that later, I don't know. Is this one correct? Yeah. Okay. Okay, the next thing that I usually do when starting to mix music is sorting the music. For example, this one is kick out. I can already call it kick, I guess. Okay, that's definitely a kick. So this is kick in. Okay, I actually call them kick out and kick in. Close mics and stuff. So I already know that these two will belong into a group that is called kick, and that kick will belong into a group that is called closed mics G, and that closed mics G will belong into a group that is called drums G. I just already know that this is going to happen. Okay, this is definitely a snare top. What do we have here? This must be snare bottom. So now I can group these as well and make a snare group. And the snare group belongs into closed mics G. What's this? Tom. Okay, now I wanna listen to a tom. Where are the toms? Probably here. Nice. Okay. What's the next thing? Okay, that's tom 2. Surely. And so now I also have the two tom tracks here. Toms G. And toms are also closed mics. Great. Okay, now we are getting started with the open mics. So this is the Wurst technique. I have forgotten what the definition of Wurst is. I think it has something to do with the distance of the mic to the snare. I think you have to kind of align the distance of the snare with the distance of the kick to get Wurst or something like that. I don't know. What is this? Overhead GJ. Okay, whatever that means. Okay, that was the room mic. Now, the open mics also belong to the drums group. Now, what's this? Bassline. I don't care so much about the mics. This was recorded with an SM7B and this is an AKG. I don't really care. It's just bass 1 and bass 2 for me. Bass G. Now these are both bass tracks. How are they gonna be used with each other? That's the question. But this question will be answered some other time. So I already know that at some point I will put the drums and the bass together into a drums and bass group, because so that I can saturate them both together. And then what is this? Oh, actually I think I should set the BPM correctly before I get started with anything else, or else I will have to do that some other time, which would suck. It's probably a bit like this. Yeah, it's definitely 111 BPM. Nice. Okay, so now I can I did the BPM thing so that I can actually start cutting away the start of certain tracks, so that I can actually get a little bit more arrangement into this. That can also help with the overview, and overview is everything when starting a new project with full of tracks that you haven't made yourself. Okay, that's guitar and it's pretty spacey. I don't know what else I would call this. There are more tracks that are having material at the same time. Are they also spacey guitars? No. Is it the same sound as in the beginning? Yeah. Okay, how do I call this thing? So this is Git. It's a little bit darker. It's a bit chill. It's a bit grounded. Grounded. Gr chill. Just call it gr chill. Okay. That doesn't have to make sense. Even just a weird sequence of letters will. Oops. Kinda makes sense at some point. Okay, now I have the gr chill. Let's only call it gr chill. Gr chill group. Okay, this is now gr chill. And this is Git spacey. Okay. So this is already sorted pretty nicely. Now I can see there is a lot of stuff that comes a little bit earlier. So I do want to have it higher up here. I should minimize the drums and bass group so that I only see all the other stuff now. I want to find out what all this is. So grouping it so that I can make it quieter. Oh, nice. So this is Git glow, because the modulation effects make it sound glowy. Hello! I'm glad to see some people here. Yeah, so I decided to make a mixing session, but I didn't want to be alone, so that's why I made a stream. And currently I'm just sorting all of the tracks. At the moment I try to give everything a name and stuff. Now I have to find out if this thing at the end is the same sound. Yep, it is. That makes things easy. If it was not the same sound, I would have to give it another group and give that a name as well and stuff. That happens often enough. Now one of my favorite things about Bitwig is that they are not able to implement the feature where when multiple tracks are selected and you try to cut all of them with one click, and it cuts only one of them. I'm a huge fan of them not making this a thing. That makes a lot of sense. I'm pretty sure a lot of people are happy that this is not a thing. Okay, no, I'm stopping being sarcastic now. But I don't see why they would rather make an update with global modulators than with the basic workflow feature. That is all I have to say about that, even though I made global modulators myself. Okay, now I have this thing and I have these things. Hey, this should be above because they have some material that comes earlier. Okay. Now there's some more stuff that belongs to the part that is played here. And I think that was everything about that part. So what is this stuff? Okay. Okay, this is a pad. What kind of pad is that? What's the name of such a pad? I think it's kind of a phasey pad, but that doesn't really describe its emotion. I will just call it like that anyway, because I want to move on now. So what do we have here? Okay. A synth flute. That was pretty easy to name. I'm wondering why the synth flute is not... Oh, it is around here. Okay, so that was a good example of why you should always try to drag out things before starting to work. And I already thought I did that already. Apparently I was wrong. Okay. Now we got that sorted, I guess. But I want to make another group because obviously this all belongs to the same part. So we can make a group for the entire part. Maybe a group for these synthesizers. Synth G. And then this entire part will have a group. I don't know what could be the name of this part. That will be... I have to give that a good name some other time because I still don't know what's going on in the entire track. What could I do next? Oh, this thing looks like it belongs to these tracks here. What is it?
I saw you in my street.
Ah, vocals. Okay.
You smiled at me and I looked away. You caught me in my dreams. When will I...
Okay. I don't want to listen to that for too long since it's all pretty unmixed at this point. Very raw. Okay, just making more or less sorting the tracks. Okay, here there's an issue. Okay, now it works. What is the stuff at the end? That is actually not vocals. Oh, I was playing all the tracks. Okay, nice. Some laughter. Maybe we can actually use that for something. I don't know. Probably that not. But I will make a separate track for that to make it a little bit more, I don't know, so that I can actually remember what the function of this end part was. And then it belongs somewhere else. Vocals in general, I want to have a separate place for them. So okay, what next? There is a very short bit of something. What is it?
Got me.
Okay, some more vocals. I don't know why there is just a very short bit of vocal here, but okay. It's also in here now. What else? What is this? Okay, so typically in a Darien Geep style rock tune, there are some normal arrangement things like parts and chorus lines and then parts, or maybe this is the chorus line, who knows, and then something is being added, usually only at the end, but this is already in the center of the project. So what is it? Okay, this one has a name already. A horror guitar. I don't find it so horrific or horror-ish. I don't know. Oh cool, acoustic. Okay, acoustic guitar is now here. Horror guitar is here. Should make it clear that the acoustic guitar, that none of this comes before this point. Yeah, that's much nicer to look at now. So there is a little bit of horror guitar at the end without the acoustic guitar. These inconsistencies can make it really hard to mix the music later. But that's just how this band rolls. Okay, what's going on here? Okay, a distanced guitar. And what is this? Also a distanced guitar. Maybe even more distant. Okay, and what is at the end? It looks like it's different actually. Yeah, so this is a great example that you can never trust the material that you are given. This actually needs to be a separate group. How are you all, by the way? Tell me what you are doing and everything. Maybe we can have a little chat in between the mixing tasks. I don't know. And meanwhile, I will try to give this a name. Okay, this sounds like it comes from a tube. So I will call it tube and tube B, and then tube G for tube group. Okay, I'm not really sure what the parts are here at the end. It's kind of chaotic a little bit. So I will not try to make a part group here yet. And some of the tracks just don't belong into a group so far, which is something that I don't like too much. But I can do something about it. Oh, first of all, let me save the project. Golden rule. Okay, I can put all of this into a big group, which I call the no drums G, but also actually no vocals. So now I have everything separated in drums bass G, no drums G, and vocals G, and I can start working very easily by just muting a lot of stuff and focusing on what's important. For example, I could start with just the open mics. Aha, you are just back from walking your dog and you saw that I was streaming. Yeah. I don't know if I mentioned that before, but I am streaming because I do have to do this because I promised my friends to actually get it done very soon, but I didn't feel like being alone while doing it. So I decided I would just chill with some people. That's why I started a stream about it. And yeah, okay, now I wanna start mixing these drums with just the open mics now. So I have to find a spot that I find really cool. Here's a spot with normal hi-hat stuff. Some toms. And there is some right cymbal stuff. The right cymbal stuff is usually what I like most for mixing, because it always has such a nice groove. Yeah. I mean, I'm not the professional mixing engineer or anything, but I just like the art of mixing. It's fun for me. Especially when you have a lot of drum mics for mixing. You can just choose a single mic, the one that sounds best to you, and start with that. So the worst one has a very nice balance between kick and snare. This one sounds kinda muffled, but that can be good for warmth. This can be something that adds brilliance to the track because it has like a lot of high end, probably good for the hi-hats. And the room mic. It's always good to dial in some room, but I wouldn't start mixing wouldn't start with mixing the room. Actually, I want to start with Wurst. Wurst is the most solid one as it kinda has a good sound on the kick and the snare. And now the next most important thing to me would be that maybe that the ribbon one is in it, because it can add the warmth. And now I'm actually adding an effect. Because at the beginning I always care most about the micro delays that I could add to the tracks. Like the most simple thing to check is if a phase flip, polarity flip I mean, sounds better. It does not, so I can already remove this effect. And now I can experiment with time shifts. Experimenting with negative time shifts is always a little bit annoying with this tool, because every time you change the value it has to reload the latency compensation, which makes a little bit of an audio dropout. That's why at some point I want to make my own plugin that does something like this, but without the audio dropout. I haven't done that yet, so I just have to live with this effect for now. The cymbals sound a little bit more open when I'm shifting it back with minus 36 samples. almost like they had a completely different pitch. Pretty cool. I think I keep it like that. Now let's add the overhead GJ, whatever that means. Now that's pretty cool. Flipping the polarity here makes the kick super tight. That's actually a sensation that I want to hold on to for now. But it also has something superficial to it, the sound. Like the kick doesn't have a lot of body. It has a lot of punch, but doesn't have a lot of body. So maybe I can tweak this a little bit with a micro shift. Now I found a sample that sounds, a setting that sounds even worse. So that gives me the idea maybe I can remove this effect again and instead only find the micro shift that fits best. I want to have a way of comparing these settings though. So I should add an FX layer where on one of the sides there is just the polarity flip. On the other side there is just the time shift. And then there is a button modulator that modulates in an instant from one side to the other. Wait, how did that work? Right, like this. Okay, boom. Now I can check the difference. Great. So I'm pretty confident now that the second solution is better. Like these are just one of the examples where I just feel like Bitwig should take their role as a good mixing DAW more seriously. They don't identify as making a good mixing DAW, but these are just the kind of features that are so good for mixing decisions, in my opinion. Okay, what do I read in the chat? Love music and like to know how to produce. Yeah. I mean, we all want to learn more about producing. No one has ever learned everything. We are all somewhere on the journey. I'm from where? Northeast Lincolnshire. Oh, okay. Now I get it. The place where you're from is actually also called Nell. That's funny. Yeah, I called my plugin Nell because my son is called Lionel. It's a tribute to my son because he's my first son and Nell is also my first plugin release. And interestingly, also my favorite one. So I'm just keep on working on it because that's just where I see my potential in making this plugin the greatest ever. Just like my son. That is kind of how I see that. So let's go on here. Okay, nice. That gave me a really nice kick. I didn't spend so much time thinking about the snare this time, but I really liked what it did to the kick. Now we can add the room. Okay, for the room, I just want to try going backwards. However, I don't like going backwards, so I think I will put the room out of the group of the open mics and instead only have it in the drums group in general, so that I can actually put a time shift on the open mics group, and this one will be shifted forwards, so that in relation to the room room will be backwards. That makes sense because room mics are further away from the drum kit, which means the sound takes longer to reach to the mic, which does just mean that it comes later than the rest of the signals. So if you want to align signals, then you have to let the closed, or the more they are closed mics, they have to be delayed forwards. I just want to try to go way too fast so that you can actually hear the effect. So at this point one can really hear the difference that this is a delay. But now going back to something more reasonable. I don't know, maybe it could be even more brutally forward. But this already helped a lot, making them align. Hey, thanks, that's not my beat, by the way. That's from the band that I'm mixing, Darien Geep. One of the songs that I hadn't started mixing yet. And they are just getting a little bit tired at this point because I'm taking so long. So I really have to get started now. Okay, now I got the open mics being phase aligned more or less against the room mic, and I should make a group of non-closed mics G, because later I will have to also align closed mics G against non-closed mics G for that to work. But for now I will just mute non-closed mics G and instead focus on closed mics G. And now we'll just do the same but with these. Starting with a kick. So we have this kick mic and this one. And the second one already sounds like it could help us a lot in getting a kick sound that has a lot of warmth in it. So the first thing again, checking if polarity flip is good. Yeah, the polarity flip already does something pretty cool, but I still wanna try alternatively to find a good setting with just a time shift. a lot of bleed on these mics, but I don't have a big problem with that. So now next up the snare. Really nice recording. Put a time shift on the second one. Let's see where it goes. Oh, great. It just sounded super hollow compared to now. Just with some samples delayed, it's just 1,000 times better. I want to go even further just for testing. So as we can see, at 100 samples, it's getting kind of bad again. So the answer is definitely somewhere between 0 and 100. There is still a weird resonance going on this entire snare. I want to know on which mic it is more. It's not on this one. It's definitely on this one. I want to know if I can do something against that with an equalizer. It's not this frequency. Hey, is it really the fundamental? Okay, yeah, the resonance that I'm hearing is really on the fundamental. Maybe an equalizer is not the right choice then. I don't have really good dynamic EQs except Sooth, but Sooth would be overkill for this. Maybe Pro and Beam. But I don't really want to start with multiband processing so early on in the project. Maybe I should just keep it in mind for later. For now, it's just important to time align the kick and the snare to sound good with each other. Nice, 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 nice. Okay, next up, the toms. What do we get from the toms? Now, the problem with tom mics is they only really play a role, very rarely, but they still constantly influence the whole sound. So in order to give them a good setting, you have to go to a place where there is actually a fill-in. But it still also has to sound good on moments where there is no fill-in. Okay, now I got the toms more or less. While I'm here, I could already pan them a little bit, because it's going to happen anyway. That will give me a good global control over the width. Time shift. Now it's finally time to actually time shift the closed mics against the, well, non-closed mics. So now the closed mics will naturally be, well, the mics are closer to the drum set. So I will just positively delay these to match more of the non-closed mics. I want to have a different sequence for that. Where are the cool sequences in this signal? Right symbol. Nice, nice, nice. Okay, not sure if it's perfect, but I just really like to make these time alignment everywhere. Now there's one problem that I haven't solved yet, which is that when you are always making these time alignment, from which most of them go forwards in delay time, it would make sense if the entire drums group had a negative delay that kind of compensates for the average time shift that you had in all of these time shifts. But I don't know how to compute that actually. It's not that this plugin has something like that built in, which it definitely should. And when I make my own plugin one day that does something like that, then I will definitely have a feature for that. But now I have to actually use my brain in order to figure this out. So I don't know, maybe I should take a piece of paper or something like that. This will definitely require math. Where are my pencils? Oh, why am I even using pencils? I don't know. Okay, let's see. What do we have to do? We have plus 69 on this one. We have minus 37. And then we have, this one doesn't have any delay. So this is just the open mics G. What does it mean when they have these values? What's their average value then? I think in order to know that, I would have to, well, just compute it like this, right? I think that would make sense, wouldn't it? Okay, let's just do that and see what that does. So what is it? Actually, let's use Desmos. I don't want to use my brain for anything today. I'm mixing music, not doing math. Okay. So this is now the solution. I have an average positive delay of 59. And then I used even more positive delay to compensate it for the room. So that would mean that the new delay is now a plus 167. I mean, no, it doesn't really make sense, because the room mic has to be a little bit later, right? Oh, that's confusing. Well, just, I don't know. Okay, 226, whatever. If it doesn't make sense, we will notice, because it will sound crappy. Now the non-closed mics G doesn't have a time shift, and now the closed mics have the kick, and the kick, one of the kicks has, oh shit, this is going to be complicated. Okay, another Desmos table. One of the kicks has 76, and the other one has nothing, and the overall kick also has nothing. And in the snare, one of the snares has 46. What do we learn from that? Actually, I have no idea. So this is the snare delay, the average snare delay. No, wait, these cannot be averages, because there, in the other thing, there was also one that has 0 delay. What would that even mean? Oh shit, this is so complicated. Okay, yes, does anyone have an idea? What am I doing with all of these delay values? Especially with this hierarchy of things going on. That's super confusing. I hate doing math on streams. It's much better trying to think about that all day long, just by myself. Okay. Wait, different approach. I mean, what's the most top-down thing that we know about this whole thing? We know that the closed mics are delayed 204 to compensate for the non-closed mics. So we at least need a minus delay of 204, right? That would make sense. But do we need even more? In order to find out, we have to go into the closed mics. Kick G, snare G has minus 41. Toms have plus 17. So I don't know. Maybe we do need a little bit more negative delay. But maybe not. 17 and 41. Okay, wait, let's just use the technique again, but only for the closed mics. Because the open mics follow the closed mics already in some way. So that makes sense, right? So minus 24. Okay. Minus 228. Now, either this makes sense or it doesn't. I don't know. I mean, we can try looking at the waveform or something and just see if that makes sense. Okay, Cleo. Yeah, I know how to use a cat toilet. Great. Okay, this comes pretty early now. And the snare comes a little bit early as well. But it might have been played like that, I don't know. How can we verify if this makes sense now? Everything comes a little bit early, so that's suspicious. Maybe we can look at the bass line. Does in the baseline also everything come a little bit early? No, the baseline comes late. And then here it comes pretty much on point. Okay, the baseline is not always on the 1, but it's usually coming on point. So this whole delay compensation thing doesn't seem to have made sense for some reason. Let's bounce it without it. And now these drums are closer to the 1, I guess. Yeah, close. Pretty close. Okay, I'm not sure why though, because I did have a lot of these delays going forward in time. So I would assume that this has to be compensated, but for some reason it doesn't. Some things are still coming early. But yeah, that's just natural. Okay, that looks more or less good in my opinion. But the real question is, how does it sound? So let's go. Sorry, I'm eating some chocolate. I will talk a little bit less while I'm doing that. This sounds super thin right now. How does a polarity flip sound on the bass? Oh wow, that's terrible. Nice. Now it's getting really fun in my opinion, because now we have so many tracks that are already kind of time aligned. I might go over some of the alignments later, but it's already getting somewhere, and that's why it's getting fun. Now let's actually check out some of the other tracks, just because we can. For example, all the stuff that is on this track, which is all the stuff that is on this part where we currently are. when you have a lot of guitars, it can also be fun to time align them. Let's see how different these guitars sound. So these are actually reamps from each other. It doesn't sound like they were completely unique recordings. So it's going to be fun to time align them. Definitely no polarity flip. Okay, it's kind of confusing that's always changing the notes. I want to stay on one of these moments where it really shines. Even though it's kind of annoying to listen to such a short loop. Nice. Okay, the next one. Time align this one. Oh, I don't really hear it. I have to make it louder. That sounds cool. Nice. Making this a little bit quieter again. Actually all of these so that I can hear the next one very well. Okay, that sounded kind of warm. Nice. Now, theoretically, the whole sequence should sound pretty cool. Nice. I think it's time for... Oh, actually, the chat is getting mathy. Every 6 milliseconds, 12 feet in length, 120 feet per 1 second. Okay, that's already too much math for me, to be honest. I think I will just ignore that now, because the sound is good. Instead, I will focus on good panning. This time I will not hard pan but just pan by feeling. First one can be panned as well. Okay, nice. Now I get a nice guitar glow flavor. I wish the band was so careful about their synth lines as they are with their drums and guitars and everything, because it's always like thousands of these reamps, but then the synth line is just like, oh, I'm pressing a key on my keyboard and that's the sound now. They really put a little bit of focus on the other sounds more than the synths. So I will just ignore the synths for now and instead go on with, I don't know, some other part. Like for example the first part. What does the first part give us? Okay, so this is definitely the chill part. Oh, even more math. Sounds travels at 340 meters per second, which is some weird number of feet per second. Okay. But the real question is, how does this affect us now? That's kind of above my head right now. Okay, maybe let's make this first note sound really cool, so that the impact's already pretty cool. I don't know, that sounded pretty strong. Yeah. Okay, we already know that the cutting point is definitely here. And that means these things can also start there. Well, they fade in a little bit. Yeah, I mean, the timing definitely was already nice before I was time aligning it. But I think it's almost always possible to find a value that is slightly better than no value at all. I mean, we are talking about individual samples, sample delays, so it's very unlikely that a band that just records and reamps their stuff in their rehearsal room just come up with a perfect time aligns just like that while doing their recordings. So it is actually pretty likely to find a better value in the mix. Okay. Okay, let's see. Guitar spacey actually belongs to the chill part. So I will make a group. Call this part chill G. Okay, this is now sorted. Nice. So there is the intro with the chill guitars, and there is another part with chill guitars, but with another track. So that's the variance that is being added here. And it's a completely unique recording, so there are no timelines possible. Oh, that's kind of a lot at the same time. What is that? Okay, I don't know. What can be done? Oh, it would even be a lot without the track, so it's not the Git Spacey's fault. I guess I will have to do that with a compressor later. Okay, there is a hard transition here. A very hard transition actually. Why is it so super hard? Is there nothing that is like consistent from one part to the next? It's very hard. It's also one of the things with this band. They don't put a lot of detail into their transitions, so I sometimes have to get creative with that. But it's okay. So far everything was pretty fun. Oh, cool. We can time align the guitars to each other. Yeah, that really made it sound a little bit more upfront. That's pretty cool. I always love when these super short time differences make a huge difference. Something about these drums still sounds super raw, but I don't know. Why is there no bass actually? Did I mute the bass? No. Why is it so unbassy? Huh? Is the bass just playing so high that it doesn't feel like a low end, or is it that they recorded something new here and now the phase values don't fit anymore? Does it go back to the old sound at some point? Yeah, it does. Okay, so maybe I'll just make an alternative bass group for only that part. And come up with better values there and a different effect chain. So this is bass G of, I don't know, the extra part. Whatever. Okay, no polarity flip. Okay, it's definitely a bass sound that doesn't have a lot of bass, but it sounds a bit better than with the other setting. I don't wanna go too much into crazy effects now, but I wanna already know what will the bass be like when it's more saturated later. So there is not much potential in the bass. It even when it's like saturated really hard, it is just not really a bass liney bass sound. And it also won't be. Good to know. The snare, by the way, is definitely way over the top here, but I want to address that some other time. Okay, what's the meaning of this part? It does sound like it tries to be some sort of horror scene. It's not what they are usually doing. So I have to be careful with the decisions here, because this is not so generic. Okay. This is definitely a golden synthesizer. Very disharmonic melodies as well. And then even all that stuff down here. Can I time align these things? Will they sound different then? Okay, this part is very complicated. I think I learned a little bit about it, but I don't want to spend too much time with it now. I can just say that all of these things definitely belong into a group. So this is the horror part. Great, I could finally give this part a name. That's also some progress in the mix. Okay, a little bit of a guitar solo at the end. Would be cool if that sounded as good as it can. Okay, sounds good. What? That was kind of a cool transition. Like kind of unexpected. And a good way to make an outro. Better than just letting things fade out every time. Not sure if the laughter track is needed. There was a laughter track. That might reduce the impact of this horror end, but maybe it's also funny. I will still keep it. Now we can finally start reasoning about the vocals, I think. So this was definitely recorded to be part of this. Yeah. So I can remove this track. I'm pretty confused why there's just one vocal track, because usually they just give me a whole folder of vocal tracks. Maybe I've lost something and this is not actually the vocal track but just the demo vocal track.
I saw you in my street. You smiled at me and I looked away. You called me in my dreams. When will I see you again? Will I see you again? You called me in my dreams.
Okay, maybe let's put also already compressor on it to just have a better idea what it could sound like later.
I saw you in my street. You smiled at me and I looked away. You called me in my dreams. When will I see you again? Will I see you again? You called me in my dreams. I saw you in my street. You called me. You called.
Why is this cut so bad? This can just not be the vocal track that they want me to use. This was definitely a demo one. Otherwise this just wouldn't make any sense.
Called me. You called me. When will I see you again? You called me in my dreams. I don't know. Let us see whatever happens.
Okay, I want to test something with this part already, even though these are probably not the vocals that I'm going to use at the end. But whenever something is a little bit more scary sounding, it makes me feel like I could pull off something like this.
I don't know. Let us see. Whatever happens will be fine for me. I don't know. Let us see. Whatever happens will be fine for me.
The cool thing about band limited or strongly band limited signals like this is that when you're compressing them, you have much less trouble getting it to sound consistent dynamically, because there is less spectrum to worry about. And I can turn off the pre-EQ of the compressor as well.
I don't know. Let us see. Whatever happens will be fine for me. I don't know. Let us see. Whatever happens will be fine for me. I don't know. Let us see. Whatever happens will be fine for me. I don't know. Let us see. Whatever happens will be fine for me.
Nice. Let's make a layer. And one of the layers will be Fuzzploid. The best fuzzbox ever.
I don't know. Let us see. Whatever happens will be fine for me. I don't know. Let us see. Whatever happens will be fine for me. I happens will be fine for me. I don't know, let us see. Whatever happens will be fine for me. I don't know, let us see. Whatever happens will be fine for me. I don't know, let us see. Whatever happens will be fine for me.
Nice. I love over-engineering vocals while everything else is still pretty raw. Yeah. Cool. That was pretty fun. This is how it always works when I'm just trying to get the basics down when mixing rock tunes like that. And I think that's kind of enough for this stream because I just made it to get started. And now I want to focus more on getting sleep in time. So, see you next time.